At this point, this channel is basically a character design or like character lore channel, so I thought I'd give a bit of a walkthrough on my process and different ways that you can make an OC. The first way is to get your friend to make you a Pinterest board and then making an OC out of that. My friend and I made Pinterest boards for each other and swapped them so that we could both make OCs. She made this super amazing, super fun board full of really interesting things that I never would have even thought to put together, so I ended up having a lot of options for an OC. It was honestly really refreshing to have someone else's Pinterest feed to like get new inspiration from, because I don't think I would have ever found any of this stuff on my regular Pinterest. So it was a pretty good change of pace. I really just sat and allowed my brain to wander and come up with a bunch of different concepts and ideas for this character, and I had a good amount of variations with what this character could potentially become, and I ended up making 2 OCs because of it, because I'm really indecisive and I love a good duo. So I made this skater girl who is heavily influenced by Joan Jett, because for the Pinterest board that I made my friend, I put in a lot of like rock stars and I just kept seeing her. So this OC is essentially just a Joan Jett skater girl, and I can't complain. I actually really love her and I think she came out really cute. Then for the second OC that I made from this board, we have maybe her friend, maybe her girlfriend. I don't know, I didn't get too far into the story, but she's just like a gravestone angel, and she lives alone in the forest and can't go anywhere and doesn't really interact with anyone because she's just in one place and, you know, she can't move. She's quiet and has essentially been in solitude for almost a century at this point. Then this random skater girl just so happens to stumble upon her grave, and I'm gonna just call her Joan, the skater girl. She's just so infatuated with this angel. I just imagine Joan heading over and talking with this angel for hours, even though the angel probably has nothing to talk about. Their story is honestly kind of boring because they're tied down to one location because of the angel, but maybe there's like a dilemma and the angel has a problem that needs to be fixed. This story, it's underdeveloped. There's like nothing with this story. But at the very least, this story is just them vibing with each other. And Joan just comes and visits the angel in her free time. So here are the babies. I was super art blocked before receiving these boards, but I feel like I really just zoned out and these characters just came out so nice and I love their drawing so much. It was a really nice change of pace and it was fun. Another way to make an OC is to just be very mindful about what you're doing to create. Using things like shape language and color psychology can make an OC very effective. I took a 2D rigging class this semester, and one of our assignments was literally just to make an OC. But being that it had to be rigged, I had to be a little bit more thoughtful about the design and try not to overcomplicate it because it would have to be rigged. Our teacher also gave us a brief overview on shape language to keep in mind while making these characters. And that's just something that I don't consciously implement into a lot of my OCs, but it's just something nice to keep in mind. Getting into making this OC, I really had no idea what to do. I could really do anything, and like I said earlier, I'm very indecisive. So I was really just doodling anything and trying to stray away from complicated designs. I had points where I kept on drawing people, but they were just a little too detailed in my opinion, so I ended up trying to figure something out with the silhouette of the character, keeping it very simplified but very distinguishable. I definitely think that this helped me get the gears turning a bit, even though I literally considered using an already existing OC for a bit. But that was a low point, and I just was thinking that I wasn't creative enough, but you know, I just kept going. So I drew this little cat cowboy and like something was starting to form. I really loved his little accessories and the bandana and boots. So to iterate, I just took them and drew a dog design with them, which I ended up liking more. And then I drew it again with like a more coyote-esque design, and I loved it so much. I was already really loving the proportion of this character. The big boots really had me in a chokehold, and I think that it just gives a lot of personality, which would have otherwise been stunted if the boots were actually meant to fit him. I tried to keep him very round to add to his friendly demeanor. There are really not a lot of pointed edges in his design, and he has a lot more curves incorporated into his design. With his design done, I wanted to get into the colors. I did a few quick trial runs with his colors, but I was hooked on this warmer, analogous color palette that I can only describe as being the colors of sherbet, and I ate that up. I didn't think too hard about the colors, honestly. I just looked at this little Disney chart that my teacher shared with us, and I saw a good amount of characters were protagonists in that range, so I called it a day. So with that, my guy is done. His name is Scout, and he's a deputy in training who sucks at his job. He's new to his town and is being guided by the sheriff. Literally no one in his town really likes him, but he's trying his hardest even though he messes up a lot and he is clumsy, which also adds to his big boot design. And they literally make him clumsy, but I also like the notion of the fact that he has big shoes to fill to one day become deputy. While this time-lapse drawing is going on, I just thought I would also just show you my 2D rigging final where I got to just animate Scout. I did a box animation of him just lifting up a box. I really tried to show a lot of personality with these and like understand his movement, which I think that they both came out really good. So there's this box one, and then there's also a walk cycle where he's just bouncing along. Oh, so cute. Yeah, anyways, I thought that was fun. My final way on how to make an OC is to just doodle. A lot of my OCs that I have been drawing since high school, and they really just started with me doodling. One of my OCs is sort of like a wolf boy. He has like wolf arms and legs, and it is such an essential part of his character at this point, but he only has those because I was lazy and I didn't want to draw hands that day. OCs can really be whatever you want them to be, and just letting your brain wander can like really aid to their design and lore. To be fair, I feel like their lore has just like the lore of a lot of my OCs has just been like stewing in my brain for years at this point. So this is like a slower process for like not being mindful about it, but it's still fun. I think it's very comforting to just know that my OCs have like evolved as time has gone on and like have grown up with me. So yeah, I thought that was cool. I'm just gonna start listing off a bunch of things that I think are very helpful when making an OC. So one of the first things is to just iterate. Yes, you can really like how a design turned out from a first drawing, but there's always a way to improve upon it and coming up with different ideas. Even changing something like an outfit or a pose can completely change an OC and their story. I wouldn't be able to get to this point in my character designs without having these. My second tip is to get inspiration. Pinterest is your friend, and there are so many references for cute poses, outfits, and just people that can really help hone in on what you want with your character. I don't do this a lot, but making a board for your character can make things like character design or lore come a lot quicker. My third tip is that characters and OCs can exist in a void. I love storytelling, and I feel like all of my OCs need at least some sort of background info in order for me to stay invested and keep drawing them. But you know, sometimes a nice design can just stay as a nice design. I have OCs that exist in this big elaborate world where I've even thought about their family trees and stuff, but I also have an AU with some of those other OCs as humans, and they really just live in a void. I still like drawing them and stuff though. And lastly, if you're having trouble coming up with a backstory for your character, listen to music. I feel like all of my older OCs are just associated with certain artists or songs, and I will always think of my characters when listening to music. The plot points that certain songs hold and the angsty animatics that play in my head while listening to music is just great. I highly recommend getting into it if you haven't, because it is life-changing. Now get out there and go make an OC. And if you want to tag me and share your creation, I will gladly gaze upon it. I'll probably end up sharing it on my Instagram story and maybe the end card if I get a lot of submission from people who made OCs, but we'll see. Anyways, I hope that this was helpful for you all. Be sure to like and subscribe. If you like this sort of video, feel free to check out my other videos because they're pretty neat and pretty character design, lore related, so if you want some inspiration. Leave any other OC creation tips in the comments and let me know what video you want to see next from me, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!